When I was 21 years old, I was in college. I was really frustrated with my life at that point. I was really bored with my coursework, and I was really bored with my social scene. And I was looking for something to provide meaning to my life, to do some sort of meaningful event. I didn't know what that was going to be. But what it ended up being was a trip to Alaska that summer after my junior year of college. And I worked in the commercial fishing industry on the southern coast of Alaska. I got a job on a salmon gill net boat. And I had filled my head with all kinds of stories about the lucrative money that can be made working in the fishing industry, and the danger only served to make it more exotic. I found out firsthand just how dangerous it was going to be because, sure enough, I went overboard on a commercial fishing boat, and that ended my summer adventure. Here's the story of how that happened. We were fishing in the Cook Inlet, and it was early in the morning on July 18th, 2005. It was about 7:30 a.m., and the season has been going terribly. We have not been catching any fish at all, and my skipper, with each passing day where we catch no fish, he becomes more and more and more of a hateful human being to the deck crew. Which, I say the deck crew, it's the deck boss, Ole, and me. And we have the gill net in the water at this point in the morning. And we do that, and it's physically exhausting getting that net into the water. The net is probably maybe somewhere from 500 to 700 feet long, and it weighs thousands of pounds. And it is affixed to the boat with one single line. And there's thousands of pounds of tension on that one line. We have the net cleated down to the port side of the boat. And my skipper, Ray, he has the boat in gear, and he is moving the net into the position that he thinks will catch the most fish that morning. And he's getting frustrated because we're not catching any fish, and he thinks that maybe he should move the net into a different position. And he comes out and starts yelling at myself and Ole that he wants the net taken off the cleat on the port side and moved to the cleat on the starboard side so that he can move the net into a different position. And he cuts the engine, and we start to drift. And when we drift, there can become slack in the line. And you can't have that because you can't have the line in the water at the stern of the boat, because then it is next to the prop. And if you put the boat in gear and the prop starts up with the line right near it, it can become tangled in the prop. That's really bad. That's really bad. So what you have to do when the boat is not in gear is you have to coil the excess slack into the boat. You have to take up that slack. And that's what I'm doing while Ole is taking the cleat off on the port side and moving it over to the starboard. He doesn't get the opportunity to do that before Ray goes back into the wheelhouse and prematurely puts the boat in gear. And all of a sudden the slack is being taken out of the line, and it is whipping over the back of the boat. And Ole looks up, and he realizes that the slack is going to disappear and that the line is going to go taut before he's going to be able to cleat it down on the starboard side. And he shouts at me to drop that coil, get over here and help me with this. And I drop the coil that I'm making in my hands, and I run over to Ole to try and help him get it cleated down on the starboard side. We're working in a very confined space, and when I step over to him, I put my foot right in the coil that I've dropped on the deck. And Ole starts to scream at me, "Get your foot out of the bite. Get your foot out of the bite." The bite is the B-I-G-H-T. I was unfamiliar with this term. Get my foot out of the what? I look down, I see what I've got my foot in. I've got my foot in the coil that I was making. And I think, well, oh my gosh, what have I done? And I start to hop on one foot. And there's extra slack that's going out the back of the boat before the coil, but that's about to disappear. And I'm hopping on one foot there, trying to get the coil off my right foot. And at a certain point, I realize I'm not going to be able to do this before it goes taut. This all happens in a fraction of a second. And I remember I turn and I grab hold of this pole. Thousands of pounds of tension go taut on that line, and it didn't drag me off the boat. It threw me. I grab hold of that pole, and I think for 1/2 second, I'll just hold on, and it grabs my right ankle and throws me clear from the boat. And I fly 15, 20 feet through the air, off the boat, over the water, and I'm in the ocean. Ole told me later he has worked on boats before, either 2 or 3 times, where men went overboard, and he said none of those guys ever came back. Ole screams, "Man overboard!" He grabs the life ring and throws it out to me. He has not cleated the life ring down. The line from the life ring to the boat, that's connected to nothing. So the life ring is near me in the water. I manage to swim over to it and grab it. And I'm there in the water. I remember asking them later how long I was in the water. They told me, I thought maybe it might have been about a minute. They told me it was more like 4 or 5 minutes that I was in the water. Ray, my skipper, has just had hip replacement surgery and cannot move very well. And he is trying his hardest to work his way up to the fly bridge so that he can navigate the boat back to where I am in the water. Ole manages to stick the pike pole out, and I grab onto it, and he is trying to pull me up over the stern all the while screaming at me to raise my feet up because I'm right back next to the prop, and I might have my legs julienned. Ole manages to finally pull me into the boat, and I collapse and I sob and I cry. I just nearly died. And eventually I'm able to put myself back together. And I actually worked the rest of the day. I actually did my job for what was left of the day that we were fishing. We came in that night, and that evening I'm back on land and I'm thinking about what happened, and I went back to Ray and I said, I'm done. My summer's over. And I went home. 2 days later, I got on a plane and I left Alaska. When I did that, it felt to me like a tremendous failure on my part. Like I hadn't done my Alaska adventure like I intended to. But I don't really think that way anymore. Since then, in the years since this happened, it's been about 7 years ago that took place. I've thought a lot about it, and I had a moment where I thought, I'm a dead man. This is the end. And I came back from that, and sounds trite. I lived to tell the tale. And there are times now in my life where I think to myself, this is bad. What is happening is a bad thing, and I don't know how I will exist and carry on afterwards. And of course, I know that I will, and that I will be fine, and that I will live to tell the tale.